All right, well, let's one MP who's come out, and I appreciate this greatly, well, not in support of the platform or me, but in support of the idea of free speech and government quangos not making up the law on their own, is Todd Stephenson, the ACT MP, who joins us from a bloody, is it wet there, or is it just the window's a bit dirty? Well, he joins
just
us.
The window's probably a bit dirty.
Yeah, he joins us from, is that Queenstown? I see behind you.
Absolutely, yes. I'm down here in beautiful Queenstown. It's not too bad a morning, Sean.
Bloody nice view. Well, good. I guess under the new, slightly confusing rules of the Broadcasting Standards Authority, you're broadcasting to us because we're on a kind of telecommunication equipment, and you're sending me a picture that other people can watch. Do you realise?
I know. I'm quite scared.
Yeah,
I'm quite scared, Shane. Sean, is this still a safe space now or not?
Oh, no. You've got to pay them a levy, and you better be careful that everything you say in this interview is in accordance with their code of standards, their standards.
Well, this is right. I mean, yeah, really, they have gone way too far. Basically, I think it looks like they're trying to police the internet. And yeah, I'm as astounded as you are, Sean, and I've actually written to the minister to say what is actually going on here.
Yeah, now I do understand that, yes, the day before they did this and dropped this hammer on me, or tried to, they actually went to the minister and said they were going to do it. So they must have known this was going to be controversial. Why, to your mind, is it controversial? I don't want to put words in your mouth. I want to say, what is it about this that concerns you?
Well, they've basically said that they can now take complaints on anything that is transmitted on the internet that they deem to be a broadcast. And so where does this stop?
Is that the purpose? Is that what they are charged to do by Parliament? Is that what Parliament meant when they set them up?
No, absolutely not. And that's what I pointed out to the minister. I pointed out a few things, but one of them was they were set up at a different time when actually companies had to go out. They actually had to ask the government to purchase a license to have radio or TV spectrum so they could broadcast. And I suppose and then as part of that, they then signed up to a regime where they could be subject, obviously, to this complaints process. Time has moved on immensely, and that's really, that everyone, or almost everyone now, is viewing a lot of their news, current affairs, other entertainment content online. And it was, the BSA was never set up to deal with that.
Yeah. Todd, I also noted last night, they've never told me that I was subject to the BSA. And in fact, we've said absolutely. We're not publicly, and I don't even know what their standards are. They've never sent them to me. And there's no way, given that they have said they're going to issue this judgment, which looks a bit kangaroo courty, if they've got to introduce that judgment, I was certainly never subject then, back in June, July, when I supposedly made these comments. I wasn't subject to it, so the whole complaint falls over at that, at that first hurdle.
Yeah. They've got at least three problems here, Sean. One is I think they've, well stepped outside the interpretation of the Act that gives them the power. That's number one. Two is, yes, even if they were going to say you are subject to their regime, and it would have to be others, right? They'd actually have the right to potentially.
Well, they need to put out a list, and they need to publish their criteria.
Yep, and they need to ask you to pay your levy, etc. And then thirdly, even if they did all of that, they would still have to follow the complaint process they put in place, which would actually require complaints to come to you first. Obviously, something that didn't happen because no one knows.
The guy came to me first, and I just told him to rack off because I wasn't covered by the BSA. Yep. He's got only got a 3-month window to make the complaint after the time. Yep. If I were subject to the BSA, which I still maintain I'm not.
No. Yeah. No, which I think is totally a totally legitimate position and one that I completely support. The other point I've made to the minister is, look, government's looking for savings. Do we really need bodies like this anymore? Maybe it's time we just got rid of it.
Have you heard back from him?
Not yet. To be fair, I only sent the letter to him yesterday. Hopefully, I might see him. I'm going to be in Auckland later on today. I might run into him. So I'll certainly ask for his
Could you drop
views.
a word? Could you ask him to sort this out for us? And I know many other New Zealanders have written to him and contacted him in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Lots of people.
I'm sure he's been. I'm sure he's been flooded because this is pretty extraordinary. Look, and if I don't really get a satisfactory result, I'll look at other means of things I can do. Obviously, we have the private members bill process. So look, there is a few avenues open, but look, I think the minister's a pretty reasonable guy. Let's see what he makes of all of this.
Okay. Have you heard from the BSA? I mean, I don't know if you just heard what I said. They did an interview yesterday, having said they're not going to give interviews. They did an interview with News Talk ZB, and who are a broadcaster. I wrote to the CMY that said, no, we're not talking to you. You've got to engage in the process. And I pointed out all these problems they've got with the timing and jurisdiction, and asked them for their thoughts, and they won't even talk to me on the phone. They've just they're kind of ghosting
that's pretty.
me.
I mean, if they believe that this is a legitimate position, they need to come out and defend it, and they need to do that publicly. I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm more worried, obviously, in the policy around this.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Dealing with actually sorting that out. So, I mean, the other point I'd make, Sean, if you go to their website today, it's pretty clear they're talking about TV and radio broadcasters. Like, they haven't updated the publicly facing content on their website. Like, it's very clear what their remit is from their own words on their website. I mean,
But they said they had a decision and they thought differently back in 2019. And they've actually said, Todd, oh, look, our problem is the government didn't reform the Act. And it stalled all this change to our powers. So we're just going ahead and doing it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's well outside their remit. What I'd rather they did is they wrote to the minister and said, look, we were created in a time, when the internet and digital technology wasn't as big. Actually, we think we should be abolished. I wish more government departments would do that. Actually say, you don't need us any longer. Let's save some money here.
Do you think that's their cunning plan? They're really committing Quango suicide here. They just don't want to let us know.
Well, there's probably an easier way to do it than that. Why not just write to your minister and say, look.
Yeah. If the minister does a kind of Luxon and is too gutless to do anything here or take a position, what do we do? If they go ahead with this, if they insist that I do have to bend the knee to their censorship, what can we do?
Well, obviously for you, you and the platform, you've obviously got the legal options of well, you actually don't have the jurisdiction.
I hate to say it, I'd hold the government and the taxpayer liable if I'm pushed into that position, and I don't want to.
No, so that obviously that's one option. Have it kind of work through that way. But look, I mean, my boss, David Seymour's already come out and also said this is crazy. Obviously, Act is pretty clear. This is not what was intended, well beyond the scope. So, look, we'll obviously be having those conversations with our coalition colleagues and seeing what we can do. I don't.
Would you consider legislation to disband the BSA if it carries on acting like this?
Look,